to connect with you again. I hope your week was blessed and less challenging. On the third Sunday of Easter, I reflect on the experience of the disciples along the road to Emmaus. Notice carefully what these two disciples are doing. They are not just walking, they are walking away. They are moving on, away from Jerusalem, the place of God's promise, the very place where everything has just happened. So, the passion, the death, and the first whispers of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Jerusalem is where the other disciples are. Jerusalem is where the community is gathering. Jerusalem is where the story is not yet finished. And the question that comes to mind is, why do they leave? Why do they decide to move on? Because for them, Jerusalem has become the place of disappointment. It is where their hopes collapsed. It is where their expectations were shattered. It is where the one they trusted was crucified. And of course, I understand. We say it is simply expectation minus achievements equals frustration. And it is why they are frustrated and they walk away, somehow disappointed. So instead of staying in the place where God is still at work, even if they cannot yet see it, they turn their backs and walk in the opposite direction toward Emmaus, not just geographically, but spiritually. Notice that as they walk, they talk. They are not casually chatting. They are trying to make sense of what has just happened. The gospel tells us they were discussing and debating. Their conversation is heavy, intense, maybe even confused. How could this happen? Making allusion to what happened, the crucifixion of the Lord, the death. How could this happen? We thought he was the one. What do we do now? We are somehow discouraged and finished. Somehow it is not what we expected. Now it is past, few days gone. What can we do? What mistake did we do? They had hoped somehow he will be the one to redeem Israel, Jesus Christ. They had placed their future in him. And now, from their perspective, that hope has died on a cross. But it is too much to grasp, too uncertain for them, too fragile to rebuild their hope upon. So they walk away from the community. And if we are honest, or some of us, are familiar with this road. We know what it is to walk away from something we once believed in. We know what it is to carry disappointment that words cannot easily fix. We know what it is to say quietly in our hearts, I had hoped, but it never worked out. Their story, as far as they could see, had collapsed. And yet, without their recognizing it, Christ was already walking beside them. That is the first truth we must hold on to, dear friends. We do not find Christ because we are strong. Christ comes to us because we are not. So, this truth is not sentimental, it is deeply challenging. Grace is not a reward for strength. Encounter is not earned by clarity. Christ does not wait for readiness before he joins us. He comes to us irrespective of where we are, what we are passing through. He comes precisely into weakness, into confusion, into unfinished faith, into unfinished business. God takes the initiative. And sometimes God gives us glimpses of these in the simplest human moment. Now, recently we see the photo going viral in Cameroon when Pope Leo was visiting Cameroon. And towards the end of his visit, he was about to enter the car. A small child broke through the crowd and ran toward him. No calculation, no hesitation, no protocol, just innocence, just need, just trust. Amazing. The spontaneous reaction of Pope Leo is kind of challenging to me. He does not step back. He does not correct the interruption. He does not wait for the order to be restored. He simply opens his arms. He receives this child fully, publicly, tenderly. Love given freely and love received freely. Amazing. Dear friends, that moment matters more than it might first appear. Because what happened, there is a living image of the gospel that Pope Leo is just portraying there. Very touching to me. The child did not come because she was strong. She came because she was drawn perhaps by curiosity, perhaps by trust, perhaps by something she could not yet name. And she was met with welcome. Met with welcome. Safe hands. It means a lot for that child. It means a lot even for us adults to be in a safe hands, to be welcomed. At that age, experiences do not stay abstract, I tell you. They become foundational somehow. That child may not remember every word spoken that day by Pope Leo, but she will remember something deeper. When I reached out to Pope Leo, I was not rejected. When I came close to him, I was welcome. Authority did not push me away, it embraced me. That is how faith is often born, not through arguments, but through encounters. That moment can quietly shape our image of God for years to come. For years to come, this child will live to remember that experience. This jest of Pope Leo revealed something essential, and that is very important for me, that the church is not meant to be a barrier of people, but a place where they are received. Even in their unpredictability, even in their improper moments, it was, in a real sense, an Emmaus moment for that child. Maybe she would not know that today. She would not discover that today. But in the future, this would be a very moment of Emmaus. The unpredicted, the unforeseen happen that brings joy, that brings U-turn, that makes them to go back and encounter the Lord. This is what real encounter does. Amazing and very touching. Emmaus moment. Because just like Christ did not wait for the disciple to return properly, the Pope did not wait for the child to behave properly. He met her as she came. Dear brothers and sisters, we do not find Christ because we are strong. Christ comes to us because we are not. Jesus Christ did not wait for the disciples to return to Jerusalem. He went out to meet them. He went to meet them. He went to encounter them in their confusion, in their disappointment, in their retreat. He entered their conversation. He listened to their pain. He walked at their pace. He enters their direction. He walks their road. He meets them inside their confusion and their retreat. And that changes everything, because the journey to Emmaus, what seemed like a movement away from hope, becomes the very place where hope is restored. And once they recognize him, they do something remarkable. They turn around. They go back to Jerusalem. The same route, but now in a different direction. The same distance, but now filled with purpose. The same story, but now transformed by encounter, positive encounter. Dear friends, this is our story too. This is just our own story too. There are times we walk away. There are times we choose Emmaus over Jerusalem, but no road is wasted, I tell you. If Christ is on it, no road is wasted. And when we allow Him to meet us, to walk with us, to open our eyes, we find the courage to turn back to faith, back to the community, back to hope. And it is precisely there and then on that road of confusion, of retreat, of fading hope that something extraordinary happens. And isn't that our story too? How often do we find ourselves in the peripheries of life, as Pope Francis calls them? The ages where things feel uncertain, where we feel forgotten, where faith seems dim. Those are not places where God is absent. Those are often the very places where Christ draws closest. But here is the turning point. The disciples recognized him in the breaking of the bread, not in the argument, not in the explanations, but in a simple human act of sharing a meal. And suddenly everything changed. Brothers and sisters, this is a divine invitation before us today. Every journey you walk, no matter how complicated, how confusing, how extraordinary or ordinary, can become an Emmaus journey. And in fact, everybody, every continent would have or is living this experience of Emmaus. In some places, we notice it through the long road of a mother carrying hope in the midst of poverty, the struggle of young people searching for opportunity where doors seem closed, families holding on to faith in the face of illness, conflict, or uncertainty, communities that gather to pray even when life is fragile and the church is destroyed, unpredictability. Here, the Emmaus experience is often marked by endurance, walking with faith, even when life is materially difficult, yet spiritually rich. In other places, an Emmaus journey can look different but no less real. The quiet loneliness of someone surrounded by comfort but lacking connection. The slow fading of faith in some societies that have moved on from God, that have walked away from God. The inner emptiness that success, technology, or routine cannot fill. Young people searching for meaning in a world full of options but short on purpose. Here, the Emmaus experience is often hidden, less visible, but deeply felt. A journey not of survival, but of meaning. In both places, we know the same story unfolds. People walk with questions, with disappointment. They walk with unspoken hopes. Some walk through material hardship, others walk through spiritual relativism, but all are, in some way, walking the road to Emmaus. And the good news is this: Christ walks every one of these roads. He walks in the villages and cities of Africa. He walks in the streets and homes of Europe, of Asia, of America. He is present in suffering and in silence, in struggle and in searching. He meets people in crowded places and in lonely hearts. He speaks in different ways, but always with the same desire: to be recognized, to be received, to bring hope to people. Brothers and sisters, your Emmaus journey may not look like anyone else. It may be a family burden, a personal loss, a crisis of faith, a quiet longing you cannot explain, failure in exams. But wherever you are walking, however far you feel from Jerusalem, your dream and hope, Christ is already on the road with you. And He will grant you a change of story, a change of narrative. And that is what I wish you as I celebrate the Eucharist. The same Lord who walked with those disciples walks with you. Happy Sunday and a blessed week. We are the Emmaus people, and divine encounter is a success story. Amen. Open your heart to the